Hey guys, Luis here today. So today we'll be talking about computers and what type of laptop or computer you need on buying. It's depending on the person, the necessities. What are your priorities? If you're video editing, doing FaceTime calls, or just browsing, simple things like the web or doing copy pasting or printing, very simple things. Google Chromebooks, as we all know, or as some of you may know, Chromebooks are their software is made by Google, and Chromebooks are very cost efficient. They're not the most powerful laptops. They're mostly used by schools, libraries, all that types of things because first of all they're affordable. Um, it doesn't cost much to get one, you know, and they're overall just they're better for a student or a little kid, just simply browsing the web, doing their schoolwork, only that type of stuff. So Chromebooks are generally are good for students, but the three things I would keep in mind is the processor, the RAM, and what type of if it has an SSD or a hard drive. An SSD is a solid state drive. It's faster, it's more efficient, and it makes the whole computer makes it boot up faster and smoother. And hard drives are it's old tech. It's you know many computers long ago have been using that, but nowadays every computer has SSDs, which is faster and more smoother for the overall experience. So you know Chromebooks have a weak processor, and by weak I mean it's Chromebooks are generally based around Google. You have all the Google software, the Google Classroom, YouTube, Google Suite, all the type of things. um, it's like I said, it's very cost efficient. So if you're a student just doing schoolwork or browsing the web, this a Chromebook will be definitely fine. But the thing just to keep in mind is the processor. Chromebooks have a very weak processor. They're not for video editing or doing very graphical or intensive tasks, because they can't handle it. You'll notice a very um, unpleasant experience because I've experienced it before. I've tried video editing on this. It's very slow, but obviously got the job done. But it was very slow, and there's the RAM. For RAM, if RAM, this only has 4 gigs of RAM, and 4 gigs of RAM is very low in today's standards, since many PCs have 6, 8, 16, 32, and up, depending on the manufacturer and the brand, of course. 4 gigs of RAM, it's not much. RAM is what gives you the ability to open a lot of tabs and keep them in the background open for a extended period of time. But with 4 gigs of RAM, you can't do that. If you open like 10 tabs, for example, 10 Google Chrome tabs, you'll notice that you'll have to the Google, you'll have to reload the pages every single time because 4 gigs of RAM is just not enough. And it's if a Chromebook is with four gigs of RAM or less, don't buy it. If it's greater than 4 gigs, definitely buy it because, like I said, if you're that type of person that has a lot of Chrome tabs open, this will definitely be helpful. And also storage. So SSDs, like I said, are faster and hard drives are slow. So if a Chromebook has an SSD, definitely buy it. If not, then do not buy it. But yeah, generally Chromebooks are for students or for anyone that's not doing very intensive or performance intensive tasks. But here's an option. Okay, so the next one is Windows. So Windows, Windows 10 or Windows 11, I should say, it's coming this October. So that's next month. Windows, Microsoft makes the software. So like I said, it all depends on the user. So for Windows, there's many different categories. There's budget, There's mid tier and there's a high tier. For budget, it's simple. Like it's like a Chromebook. You want an Intel Core i3. Not it's not very powerful, but it's powerful enough to get web browsing done. All the simple tasks that's mainly done nowadays. So that's a huge bonus. Budget budget Windows laptops or computers have SSD instead of hard drive, which is nice. And also they have RAM. They have more RAM. 8, 16, depending on the model you get, of course. And there's tons of brands that make them. There's Samsung, there's Acer, Asus, MSI, HP. Even Microsoft with their Microsoft Surface laptops, they also make those. And they cost around like 500 to 300. It's very budget oriented for students or for someone just looking for a computer just to do their work or whatever. So that's nice. And the mid tier is like you kind of get in between of the budget and the higher end. So get brands like Dell, Alienware, LG, etc. Like the mid mid tier brand that costs around $1,000 or more. They have they're from reputable brands that we all know. And they have a better processor, faster RAM and faster storage, which is pretty cool. And the higher end is more than $1,000, $2,000 or up, depending on the model, of course, and the manufacturer where you get it from. And all these Windows laptops and computers have upgradability, meaning that if for whatever reason you might notice that your laptop is slow or whatever, you can just upgrade the RAM. Just take out the screws and upgrade the RAM and the SSD, the storage, and it'll be good as new, which is pretty nice. Not many manufacturers or companies make that available for the consumer, so that's a huge bonus. And also there's, after the higher end, there's like the PCs are they're made by Windows, of course. PCs are they're mostly used like for video editing or for video streamers. If they're streaming like a video game or whatever, you might notice that they have a PC because it's generally faster, and all the horsepower, it's in there, it's in the case. You can either build it yourself, which is expensive now because of COVID-19 last year and supply demand and everything. So it'll be hard to, well, it won't be hard, but it would just cost you a bit more than what you expected. So that's something to keep in mind. Or you could buy one pre-built, with everything in it, and then it'll cost around $1,000 or a little bit more, depending, because like I said, supply demand, and also because people are working from home, they want something, they want a workstation basically. So there's Windows PCs, there's that's a whole lot of PCs. Okay, so the next one is the Mac. So Mac, Mac OS, it's a software that Apple makes, and the hardware. Mac is a very it's a very recognizable laptop and computer. Everyone knows Apple. You got the iPhone, the iPad, AirPods, everything. Last year, Apple did transition to the Apple Silicon, which can be found in their iPhones, their iPads, their MacBooks now, AirPods, everything. So not only does Apple make the software, but also the hardware. So everything locked in. So for Mac, I would definitely recommend those to people that are willing to spend the money for a very luxurious brand, I would say, because their Macs are not they're not affordable. Obviously, not everyone that has a Mac can afford it, obviously, but but if you do have that kind of cash to spend $2,000 or more on a MacBook Pro 16-inch, then by all means. But there's very different Macs. There's the Mac Mini, which costs around 700 or 670 depending on where you get it from. The Mac Mini is basically a little PC. It's a little PC like this. It has hardware, everything that you need. You just need to plug it in by HDMI cable to a monitor. So you need to buy a monitor, and monitors are not that expensive. And then you need to buy a keyboard and mouse, which aren't expensive either. So you got the Mac Mini, and then you got the MacBook Air, which is a very it's a laptop. So if anyone looking for something versatile which they can use at home and also go somewhere and work and work outside of their home, there's also an option. And the MacBook Pro, which is a bit more graphical performance and just a little bit more powerful than the MacBook Air. And then you got the new iMac, the one with fancy colors and all that type of stuff. The new iMac. So the new iMac is basically like the Mac Mini, is just more expensive and has its own monitor and everything, and the components are inside, and it comes with a keyboard, the mouse, and the power supply and everything. And it costs around 1,200 and up, depending on what kind of model, of course, you want to get. So that's what I generally recommend for anyone that's getting a Mac, if they're willing to spend that kind of money and time on something that they really know, because everyone has iPhone, iPads, MacBook, etc. So if you want to keep the same ecosystem, that's also an option. So that's basically it. So I hope you guys learned something. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys next time.